purpose of this screencast is to walk you through the design protocols in the MYP in relation to the objectives and the command terms. So in the MYP, in any subject, there are always 4 objectives that are articulated in any of the guides. And in this case, they are on page 8 of your design guide that you should have downloaded from the Moodle Resource Centre. Couple of things to note when you're reading the design guide. Number 1, anytime you see something inside a text box like this is something that is mandatory in the MYP, meaning it's got to happen. So, for example, schools must use objectives provided for this guide in years 1, 3 and 5 of the programme. Year 1 equals 6th grade. Year 2 equals 7th grade. Year 3 equals 8th grade. Year 4 equals 9th grade. And year 5 equals 10th grade. Now you'll also note that it talks about years 1, 2, 3 and 5 of the programme. So articulating year 2 and year 4 of the programme, often what schools will do is they will either start in the first semester with year 1 and then move to year 3 by the second semester, or they agree as a school that there's some sort of transition that goes on during the written, taught and assessed curriculum in the 7th grade. For year 4 of the programme, especially for schools that have e-assessment, it is advised that you always use year 5 objectives. The second rectangle points out that subject groups must address all strands in all 4 objectives at least twice in each year of the MYP. That shows growth. So as you articulate the strands for assessment, you will be aligning your assessment along the descriptor levels, more to come on that, in order to see how a student is progressing in the objectives of the MYP and in this case in design. So since every MYP subject has 4 objectives, these are the 4 objectives in MYP design. And these 4 objectives have a number of strands attached to each. And those strands are the Roman numerals that you see in below each of the objectives. So in MYP design, there are 4 strands that are aligned to each of the objectives. And these are what have to be assessed twice in any 1 year. So these are found on page 8 and 9 of the design subject guide. So I would suggest that after the conclusion of this screencast, you engage with pages 7 through 11 of the subject guide in order to firm up some of the understandings that I'm talking about here. The last thing that we're going to talk about here is that planning a progression of learning. So as I articulated earlier in the screencast, year 1 equals 6th grade, year 3 equals 8th grade, and year 5 equals 10th grade. So each year of the programme, we articulate different levels of sophistication for the progression of learning. And these align with the command terms on the next page. So these are the command terms. We'll talk about how they align with these objectives in just a second. Each one of these objectives are articulated for year 1, which is 6th grade, year 3, which is 8th grade, and year 5, which is 10th grade of the programme. And as you read down just criterion A here, for example, you can see how sophistication changes over different years of the programme. So for example, a 6th grader can be expected to state and prioritise main points, describe main features, present main findings. But by 10th grade, by year 5 of the programme, You'd expect a student to have a deeper knowledge and understanding, where they can identify and prioritise, where they can analyse a range of existing products, where they can develop a detailed design brief. It deepens their learning experience. All of these progressions of learning are aligned with the command terms, and the command terms are found in the appendix of your subject guide, round about page 55. And each one of these command terms align to the way in which we are developing the MYP student to perform in either DP or CP examinations in the programme. These are the terms that would be used in the examinations, for example, when they get to diploma programme in 11th and 12th grade or in their junior and senior years in high school. So those align to the objective strands in each year of the programme. So again, remembering that year 1 of the programme is 6th grade, year 3 of the programme is 8th grade, year 5 of the programme is 10th grade. So these degrees of sophistication are developed over each year of the programme. So for example, back here in Objective A, inquiring and analysing, we see that the 6th grader is expected to be able to do some of the lower aspects of Bloom's taxonomy from those command terms. By the time they reach 10th grade, through a progression of learning, look at the scaffolding, analysing, constructing a research plan, developing a design brief. In the 8th grade, by the time they reach 10th grade, they're able to handle higher degrees of sophistication, and they're able to understand what these command terms are in context because they've seen them so many times as they've been aligned to their objectives for learning in design. So my advice right now is go and read the pages 8 through 11 of the design guide and respond to the forum that I've set up for you on the Moodle.